Hey there, welcome to the Adulting Advice Podcast, where we share advice and step-by-step guides on all things life after 20. I am Hannah.
And I am Dani, and we're multi-passionate, career-driven 20-somethings who come from very different backgrounds, but have similar goals and struggles. And we're here to chat about it.
Join us.
Welcome back to the show.
Hey, Hannah.
Dani just really experienced what Austin traffic is like. Or making a wrong turn in rush hour is actually what you...
Yeah. We both live in Austin, but we live like as far away as possible, probably. Yeah. And I did miss my turn, but we got here and now I'm really tired.
But we're doing it.
But it's okay, we're doing it. I've had a watermelon juice. I'm sitting on the ground in your closet now, so we've switched closets. We're actually wearing the same outfit.
Which is...
a total coincidence.
It is a total coincidence. And yeah, I think... I don't know, where you came from like another side of the world. And yet we're like oddly similar. And I'm just realizing that.
Yeah, we're super similar. I mean, like, you're a small Mexican girl.
Oh my God.
With...
I'm like the worst example of a Hispanic. Anyway.
You're a small Mexican girl from Texas with a who's very, very academically intelligent, I would say.
Oh my God.
And is definitely like a very good example of a side hustler.
Mm.
And then I am a bigger than you, I wouldn't say small, Australian girl from Sydney with no interest in academics. It's not that I couldn't, I just, like, nothing sounds worse. And I'm also sick at side hustling, and so that's where we meet in the middle.
Yeah, which actually is a perfect segue into our chat today. We're going to be talking about, what are we going to call this? Like Side Hustle 101.
Yeah, I mean, I hate the term side hustle.
What are we going to call it? We need a better name.
But it just is the word. What the
like
thing that you do on the side, like,
yeah.
What are you doing outside of your actual job or outside of study or something like that to make the extra cash? And Hannah and I freaking love this topic.
We do. And just quick sidebar, it was actually through like my side job that I discovered who you were.
Yeah, and it was like my job was a side hustle that went full time.
Yeah, I mean,
and
how were the odds of that? Like, the odds of your side hustle turning into a full-time job, moving across the Atlantic Ocean.
Pacific, fair enough.
Oh, I'm thinking of, like, the globe that way.
Yeah, if I was from...
Oh, yeah.
If I was from the west coast of Australia and flew to the east, but I'm from the east coast of Australia and I came to the west side. So that is the Pacific.
Oh, I was thinking, like, New York to, like, Paris. Yeah. Like, that way. Well, that... is a whole different... Mm-hmm. Well, now I know. Okay, cool. Okay. Side hustles.
Awesome, yeah. I like... super cool other thing that's totally relevant to both traveling and side hustles is that today I booked a trip to Iceland.
What?
With all of my side hustle money. Not all of it, but like,
yeah, you did it with your side hustle stuff.
I did it.
That is so cool. When are you going?
Right. Like November. That is so far away, but that's when the, oh my gosh, what are they called? The lights.
Oh, like the Aurora Borealis?
No, shit.
Oh man, I don't know.
There's something really cool that happens in November, and that's why we're going then. So I'm really excited,
cool.
And it wouldn't be happening without my side hustle.
Neat.
And so I want to dedicate this episode to my side hustle.
Awesome. So, Dani, I'm curious to know, like, what were some of the reasons? Because I know you probably have had, like, full-time jobs and taken on side projects. So, like, what is your motivation behind that?
Like everyone's, it's cash money. Every time I come up with a hobby or something I want to do, my next question is just like, and how can I monetize that? It's
yeah.
super natural. I don't know if part of it comes from a fear of having no money, or if part of it is just like really novel. But I think it's a lot of fun. Yeah, I think it's a lot of fun. I listen to a lot of other podcasts and I've read other books. It just gets you pumped up to do it. And I don't have a ton of hobbies that like aren't something that you could monetize. So
Gotcha. I think there's like a bit of like an entrepreneurial spirit one has to have maybe when doing this. But my reasons for having side jobs comes from diversifying income. For some reason, it freaks me out to have the idea of all of my money coming from one source.
yeah,
So there's that. But yeah, I think having multiple sources of income is always something that I aspired to have.
yeah.
And it makes me feel safe.
Sometimes I think like I have so many going on that them combined could just be my job. And my job is just to have lots of random things that I do. My full-time job definitely takes up the majority of my time, but a couple of hours a week, I really get to work on something else for someone else, and that's fulfilling in a different way. And it's not always for someone else. I'm working on some projects just for myself. I don't know. Keeps it interesting.
Keeps it interesting. I think having a side hustle is also a good way to, you mentioned hobbies, so a good way to like test something out. So if you have a full-time job and if you have like side hobbies that you're interested in, but maybe you don't have the job doing those things, it's a cool way to dabble in it first and see if it's something you might want to turn into a full-time job. So what have been or what are some of your current side hustles?
Okay, so I guess I will start with my favorite one is where I sit dogs for Rover. So people just book me online through my profile on rover.com, and they can leave their dogs with me. So I have overnight clients, and I have ones during the day. And what I love about it is that I just pretty much only get well-behaved dogs, because that's just the type of person that books a sitter for their dog, and they just kind of sit under my desk all day while I work. Like by choice.
You just look at cute little fur balls
seriously,
all day.
I just get paid to like open the door so they can go to the bathroom.
Not bad.
Yeah, it's really great. And that is how I paid for my Iceland trip. And
that is crazy.
Yeah, I love it. It's great.
Any other ones?
Sure. I have recently started doing filming and editing Instagram videos for real estate agents. So
I love how like specific that was.
That's my niche is
Videos,
Instagram videos for real estate agents.
I think that's like the Seth Godin way, like super specific.
It is. Yeah. So basically they always have some little videos, tidbits, 60-second clips. I film it for them, nothing fancy. Then I edit it so that it fits an Instagram feed and an Instagram story. Pop it in a Dropbox. I'll add like a fancy heading, and that's all it is. And it makes sense. Like they don't have time to do that.
Yeah.
So I do that like once every few months. I'll film 14 weeks of content or something like that.
It's like a big old batch and done.
Yeah.
Neat. I like it.
Give me one of yours.
Ooh, so I recently also started working with a real estate agent. I don't get it. We don't do these things on purpose, you guys. We're just that similar. She's looking for overall just like marketing strategy, and I have a degree in business with a concentration in marketing. So it's this is one of those hobbies where like I think I would like to do that one day, be a consultant for small businesses and help with marketing. So that's like me getting my feet wet with what it's like to take on that kind of responsibility. Another side hustle is working with essentially the company that kind of like brought us together. I help like coordinate a podcast. So just getting guests on there, sending them microphones and things like that, making sure everyone has the same calendar invite. And like that is it. And that's something, again, like within a batch, I just try to book them every 3 weeks. And then it's a very generally passive way to make money. So that's pretty cool.
Some people might say that's a virtual assistant, right?
Yeah, so that's where it also, like, my world kind of flip-flops between that. So there's a podcast that I mainly do for one company, but what is he, like the co-founder of that company? I'm his personal assistant too. So he works with 2 different companies, help with one podcast, but then help manage like his general like life and business outside of that. That is something that's done completely remotely, so that's pretty cool too. I think that's just about it. I feel like my side hustles tend to fall in like the business operations marketing world.
Okay. Mine are super random. And they're not usually in like the operations, although my main job is, my side jobs are always just like a random technical skill that I will just execute for someone.
See, that's good. Like if you're throwing videos in like, what do you edit videos in? I don't even know what that is.
Premiere Pro.
Yeah, like see, that's like super technical. Like I don't enter that realm.
It is, but what I love about it is how easy it is just like for me. At least I think that it's really easy.
That's cool.
Well, what I love is how hard it looks, but easy it actually is to learn if you spent an hour
Gotcha. Just
figuring
like
it out.
doing
Yeah. But other people are not willing to do that. And that's what I love trying to monetize.
Yeah, so no, that makes total sense. How did you, and you basically almost answered that question just now, like how would you recommend someone finding their side hustle? So for example, one thing that came to mind for me was getting a very real idea of how much time you actually have. So if you're going to take on a job, if you're already working maybe a full-time job or even, 50, 60 hours a week, getting really honest with yourself saying, I do or do not have that time to even commit to that.
Mine would be about the quality that I can deliver.
Yeah.
Are you saying yes and then you're just going to go and figure it out? Or do you already know that you can do it? And if you're going to choose the former, are you going to be transparent about that? So, like when I started doing the videos, disclaimer, I'm not a professional videographer. And my camera is like super cheap. And that's what you're going to get. And then they're down. So, but when you promise something that you can't, that you feel like you may be over promising,
Yeah.
no, you're gonna have a bad time.
Yeah.
And so I would definitely make sure of that. I don't know if that is exactly the same as what you're thinking, but
No, I think that is good because on that same note, you don't want like your reputation to get damaged if you end up, trying to overpromise and underdeliver. And on a similar note, I think you should like take the time to just evaluate like your skill sets and figure out what general like buckets of work you can start dabbling into.
And I will say that I did a lot of free work before I ever started getting paid for anything. Just as a youngin'. Volunteering. Like if I wanted somebody to let me help them with their business in any way, I would create something for them for free just to show them that I can and like I can deliver and I can over deliver, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think that's a really great tip, especially like maybe if you are like younger and don't have a whole lot of like resume experience, offering to do it like for free for a bit. And
it's kind of funny when I think back to when I was a teenager. I'm 27 now, so I can be like, I was young, when I was a teenager.
My boss hates when I say that.
I really kind of like felt like I didn't have much of value, and that sounds bad, but I mean I really was just an underexperienced, unskilled teenager.
Yeah.
So I really didn't see any problem with giving my time for free. But I meet so many people who have really bought into that whole like, well, how much is your time worth kind of thing. And I also just want to say your time is worth the amount of experience that you have, I think.
Yeah.
So if you're brand new to an industry, like say you used to work in corporate and now you want to be a barista, because I know those people.
So that was a very specific example.
Yeah, it's a great real life example that I have.
It was like someone came
a friend of mine used to work in, phone books, but lo and behold, there are no phone books anymore. So he lost his job and he was like 40 something, and he was just like, I'm going to live my dream. I'm going to be a barista. Now, this is actually a very high level job in Australia. I don't think people realize that. It's a well-paying job, and a lot of people do aspire to be a professional coffee maker there. But
oh, that's a little tidbit of Australian info.
Because Hannah's looking at me like, that is so random. But it makes sense for me. Okay. And he ended up, he worked for free for a while for some friends of mine so that he could get the experience that he needed. And I did the same thing because I was also a barista. I did the same thing. I worked for free like after my shift because I wanted to make coffee, but I used to be in the kitchen. So my shift would be done and I would stay behind and I would do it for free if they would train me. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes total sense.
Yeah, so that was a way for me to get experience in something I wanted to do.
That's really good.
And you can apply the same thing to a side hustle.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, so I think for sure if you like have a full-time job doing one thing and that's where your experience is, like you probably do need to like adjust your expectations going into something if it's completely brand new.
You're starting again.
Yeah. And on a similar note, I think when it comes to a side hustle, especially if it's going into something you do have experience with, I think it's important to be mindful of how you can value your time. Because at the end of the day, if your goal is to maybe make extra money or try to set that up to be a business, you don't want that time to not be compensated for. So like, for example, I had an interview with someone pretty recently for like another side project, and they came in way lower than what we had initially talked about. And it's like not what I talked about, what my profile said I would do. So I always think that's a little bit interesting when someone calls you in like, this is how much I charge, this is how much you came in for. Right. And I mean, I just had to say, like, I appreciate it, like you talking with me, but like I can't do that. Like, it's not, I felt like I could say that was not worth my time. They ended up adjusting it and like getting to what I wanted. But I think it's important to be able to like flex that muscle a little bit if you feel like you know it's going to take your time, but it might not be worth it. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
it really makes sense. And it's, I'll probably not have enough time for that on this episode, but it is something I want to talk about, which is kind of like how to know when you are ready to like up your price.
Oh, yeah. Because I mean, a few years ago, I would have taken that, right? But like today, I just thought I have a lot going on. I know what I want to do, and that doesn't align with it. Mm-hmm. But because I mean, when it comes to like side hustles, like when you think about the employer, they're probably looking at a range of different things too. Like if they're willing to hire someone who's not part of a firm or an established business, a motivator could be price, and they're trying to get someone to do it for less money. So I think it's a dynamic environment. But it's exactly like you said, be willing to either adjust your expectations, or if you know how much you need to make or want to make, be able to be firm with that.
Yeah.
Given the situation. Cool. Like it. Ready for some rapid fire suggestions. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to share quick ideas on ways or ideas for people to have a side hustle. So yours is Rover.
Yeah. Rover, which I would say falls underneath other things like Airbnb or Instacart.
So like services, I think is good. So yeah, there's like Instacart, Shipt. So those are like grocery delivery services. So if you have a car.
And these are all ones though that you don't need to market yourself, and that's the benefit here as a side hustle. You just sign up for the service.
Oh, and then I think what we didn't mention is that, say, for example, if you feel like you don't have a skill set that you can necessarily charge and market for, these are great things that you just have to have, like, access to a couple of tools. So, right, for Shipt, it's a phone in your car. For Rover, maybe a house, an apartment, a backyard, things that you have at your disposal. Mm-hmm. Cool. What other ones?
Okay.
Virtual assistant. I think we've both been in that world.
Yeah, which can actually, I think, be really challenging to get your first client as a virtual assistant. But once you're in, it's great, and it is an awesome one that is work by referral. And there are a few agencies that help you find jobs as well, like Fiverr?
Fiverr is good. So there's like Fiverr, Upstart is another one. So that's very much in like the freelance community. So if you want to be a virtual assistant, if you maybe want to edit videos, or if you want to
Really anything.
Graphic any
designer,
kind of service, graphic designer,
copywriter.
If you can make a PowerPoint, I've seen that, like, I just need this into a PowerPoint or an Excel sheet. I would definitely recommend Fiverr or Upstart. Quick note on that: whenever you're applying for jobs, I know this is relevant to Upstart. There's like a little box you can check where it says that you're only looking for jobs who want to hire within the US. So I think that is a quick way to not get discouraged. Personally, we have, like, our company has looked for some quick things on Fiverr, and it is hard to compete with like international pricing with some people.
Yeah, okay.
So just be mindful of that, right? Because it can get discouraging when you see someone willing to work for like $4 an hour. So just don't waste your time trying to apply for those jobs.
Yeah. And if you want to try doing some kind of assisting on a full-time basis, like not through an agency, I would recommend applying directly to that company. Especially if they're like a small-time entrepreneur, like being the assistant to a podcast host or a blogger or something like that. They usually apply directly online. So get off of Indeed and onto that. Like, that's my shtick, is going straight to the employer.
No, that makes sense. And I think another place like care.com is a place where I think people can post. It's mainly like childcare services, but there's also like a miscellaneous tab, and people look for assistance there. Oh my god, I want to think of two things. One, when it comes to going direct with someone, I would say just in general be careful, because I can't like say this without warning that sometimes you can find people on these sites who might not be real. Does that make sense?
Which sites?
Like on, I don't know how like Fiverr's process is, but when I was in college and I was working on care.com, I would get a lot of messages like where you can tell it's just spammy. Like, it's not written well. They want you to, like, you know, cash a check for them and whatnot.
Oh,
so
wow.
I would be mindful of that. I just had to like include that. But on a second note, I want to talk about the Productive Pro channel, where I think Dani actually has a ton of great content if you're interested.
Yeah, so I actually started by coaching a few assistants, virtual assistants, on how to be like a full-time assistant to their CEOs, and then they always had the same questions and stuff, so I made videos that answer those questions and like show you how to do things that to me were always basic skills, but turns out people just like hadn't tried nor like Googled how to do. So I just jumped in there and created those, and it gives you a lot of the hacks, like what's logical to do as an assistant, like how to properly schedule something while keeping everything in mind, like time to travel and that kind of thing, and all the way through to how to physically put it into a calendar correctly.
Super
and I know
helpful.
like that sounds, to someone who's just done it since they were 16, really logical, but yeah, not everyone's done that.
Yeah, I
so
mean, if you've never done it, it's just a way, it's just a new way of thinking about like how to schedule someone's time. Like, you just don't think about it. So your channel, is it The Productive Pro, The Productive Professional? How do people find you on YouTube?
Pro.
Productive Pro.
Oh gosh, great question, Hannah. I think on YouTube it's The Productive Professional, and the website is theproductivepro.com.
Either way, we will link all of Dani's cool content.
Oh, sure.
In the description. Cool. Any other ideas? Some other things that came to mind. We actually kind of covered them. Photography. If you're a great photographer, that would be a cool thing to do.
Well,
Party and event planning.
Yeah. So if you want, for any of these, I just wanted to jump in. Sorry.
Yeah, go.
In terms of sourcing, whatever you think that you can do, you just need to tell people. So if you go to a gym, you know, tell the person that owns the gym like about what you do, and will keep you in mind. You're the one that asked. So if I went to like my yoga instructor and said, hey, if you're ever interested in making Instagram videos, holler at your girl, as they say. So like, and And
Is
that's
that your American accent?
no. That would be like, oh, I can't. I don't know if I can say that sentence. Holler at your girl. Holler over here.
So just be willing to tell people that you're available.
Yeah, and that this is what you do. Like, are you a photographer? Someone might need some photos, and you're going to be the first person they ask because they don't want to have to find that person themselves. And they want somebody that they've met before that they can trust. So it can be really beneficial for you to tell people now and hope that it pays off down the line.
Yeah. I think that applies, like, for a lot of things in life. Like, if you're willing to do it, like, show up and tell people. Like,
Yeah.
it'll be...
And I always tell people, I just really want to get the experience. I want to get the experience. So that way they trust that they're going to get a deal with me as well. And as I get more advanced, more experienced, I start to
You can, like, phase out of
up that
like,
price. Yeah.
Cool. I think this was super cool. Any other final thoughts?
Well, I mean, let's just quickly recap.
Sure.
So we said, tell everyone that you know what you want to do. And reach out to people directly if you wanted to work in a specific capacity for them. Use the agency type websites like Rover, Uber, Lyft, Instacart.
Fiverr, Instacart,
Yeah, let them do the
Care.com.
work for you and get you the clients.
Yeah, that's a really good one, too.
What else did we have?
Evaluate, like, some skill sets or just things you're generally passionate about. Because, I mean, sometimes you have to have a side hustle because you need cash. But if you're in a spot where you're able to, like, explore, I think have fun with it.
Yeah.
You don't want, like, a side hustle that's, like, draining.
Yeah, definitely have fun with it. And you try something you're not sure about and it might lead into something else.
Oh, yeah, that is good.
Yeah, like right now you're like dating. So it's okay.
Oh
to
my
just
God,
try
that's how I got
things.
my current job. With my current job, they
by
hired me
dating.
just to manage their sales force. And they offered me a full-time job.
Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah, do that. I completely forgot to mention that.
Yeah,
That was great.
totally.
Alrighty.
Cool. Okay, if you have any other questions, anything that you want us to talk about or address on the podcast, please let us know. Where, Hannah?
The most ideal spot is if you go to adultingadvice.com/contact. There's a contact form. You can reach out to us there. We are on literally every single social media platform.
As
All of the
Adulting
links
Advice.
as Adulting Advice. There's only one. Is it Pinterest or Twitter? There's one where there's an underscore because it was taken.
Oh, damn.
But I will link all of that below, and we would love to hear from you. The whole point of this is to be helpful and provide as much insight as we can on a couple of different things, and yeah, we want it to be valuable for you.
All right. Later, nerds.
See you in the next one.